Hello everyone, my name is Sniping is Fun, and I welcome you all back to my next The 5 list on my YouTube channel. I recently brought this back. I'm still in the middle of Season 2. I know I took that long hiatus. I'm sorry about that. I have a couple episodes left before Season 2 is done, and I start Season 3 by the summer. And that's about it, really. I'm sorry for the hiatus for those of you that love watching my The 5 lists. And this topic today, which you probably should already know by the name of the video, the thumbnail, and whatnot, is going to be another video game related topic. And it's a topic I've been wanting to talk about for a while now. And it is dealing with video game mascots, particularly classic video game mascots. And what I want to talk about is the 5 classic video game mascots that need to be brought back, that need to make a return, that need to make a comeback. Video game mascots, and I'm talking more so about the old school days when it was like the Marios versus, Sonic, when you had like Mega Man and you had the Belmonts, you had freaking Pac-Man and the guy from Dig Dug, and like the very like the mascot era of gaming, which really kind of died with the turn of the century, and the 2000s kind of changed that. Are there still mascots in video games? Yes, there's Master Chief, you got Kratos, you got like various Fire Emblem characters, numerous characters from numerous games, Nathan Drake, a lot of characters. But I'm talking more so about the days of the mascot gaming, which will be any game. And I know it still was there in the early 2000s, but my specific guidelines I had for this list was any characters pre-2000 that made their debut pre-2000. But like I said, the mascot era of gaming was so big back in the day. In the 80s and the 90s, like it was Mario versus Sonic, Nintendo versus Sega. You had like everyone trying to make that next big mascot. You had Bonk, you had Earthworm Jim, you had freaking Bubsy the Bobcat, and like all these other ones that were either trying to be something totally original or they were knockoffs. It was a major mascot era of gaming. And some of those characters have been brought back. Some of those characters, first off, were consistent and stayed around, like Mario and Sonic. Some characters are being brought back now, like Bubsy the Bobcat and Earthworm Jim. And then there's characters like on this list that have been seen in forever. And like any day now, we could see one of these characters being brought back. And without further ado, so this intro doesn't go on too long. Let's get on with the video. This will be the 5 classic gaming mascots I think need to make a return. And the first one, I know for a fact, a lot of people particularly do like this series from Namco. And there's a lot of people online that want to see this character in Smash Brothers, which there's other Namco franchises I could see above him, but I could see why he's beloved. I have played at least one game in the series, and that goes to Klenoa. The first time we ever seen Klenoa was Klenoa Door to the Phantom Mile, which was in 1997 on the PS1. He is from a platform type series that's been on the PS1, the PS2, the Wii, the Game Boy Advance, in Japan only, the Wonder Swan. There was about 6 games in his series, some of which were only in Japan, which is probably what the Wonder Swan is, because I have no idea what the heck it was. It's like some thing that came out, I think, in the late 90s. I don't know what it was, but it's a Japan only thing. It's from Namco. Like I said, it's a platforming game. And the most recent entry of the series has been... It's been almost 12 years, back in 2008 with Klenoa when they did the remake of the original game on a Nintendo Wii. He is a pretty beloved platforming series from Namco, and Namco does tend to sometimes revive some of their older series, and I'm not just talking about their freaking, arcade days, but a lot of their, console day franchises they do bring back. It's not always just the Tales series, Soul Calibur, and Tekken from them. They do other games too. They do use their other characters, and we have not seen him in 12 years, and he is a beloved character that they want to see. And platforming games are still pretty big. It's actually kind of got a resurface since the freaking 8-bit games, like from the indie scene, people pushing like that. Like platformers are still very popular. It's not the definitive gaming genre of the industry anymore, like it was back in like the 80s, the 90s, and whatnot. But platformers are still a major thing in the gaming industry, and he was a very freaking popular character. And they do still, I think, recall do him in like crossovers and everything. I don't know if he was in Project Cross Zone, but I do recall them using him in other crossovers. They still reference him a lot in games, like cameos and stuff like that too. But his last actual game was the Klenoa remake on the Wii back in 2008, and I do think he should be brought back. We should totally get a new game, and you could do so much with him, like with his errors and his grabbing ability and whatnot, you could do an interesting platforming game with Klenoa. So I do think the Klenoa series should be brought back, or at least include him in something, even if it's a crossover game. He should be brought back. He is beloved. And if you want to throw him in Smash Brothers, so be it. But there's other Namco characters I think that deserve it first. So in the future, maybe. But for right now, I'd say just wait. But not waiting, bringing his series back. So Namco, please bring back Klenoa. Number 2 on this list is going to go to another classic mascot character that came around the same time, the late 90s. And around, like Klenoa, and I do think his series, with less games, but has made as much of a cultural impact as Klenoa, if not maybe more so. And that goes to Gex. Can we please have Gex back? It was basically developed by Crystal Dynamics, published by BMG Interactive, which is 3DO. He's had 3 games. The first game was the original Gex, which was in 1995. His last game was Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko in 1999. All released on different systems, from the 3DO, the PS1, the Saturn, on Windows computers, a platforming game just like Klenoa. Like I said, platforming games are still big, 3D or 2D. And you could do such a big open world thing, because his whole aspect, his attitude, being all this edgy, which I know is a very 90s thing, but even then, everyone likes to talk about retro stuff now. Like, if you bring back 90s retro, even though a lot of people push like 80s retro, bring back 90s retro, his attitude, which is what they still kind of do with Sonic nowadays, still could work in this current day and age in gaming. The whole aspect of him going through the TV and going through like the video worlds, like the horror movies and the action movies and whatnot, would be even cooler now, because movies have become even bigger since then, like the superheroes and the action John Wicks and everything. You could really do something interesting with him. And I would like to see him back, because I actually like the series. I never played every single game. I recall playing the original, and I think Gex 3, I think. It was a fun series, though, and I love the attitude of the character. He could fit in today just like Sonic the Hedgehog can. And we're seeing the likes of freaking Bubsy the Bobcat, even though I love the first 2 games. Everything after that, I have no idea. I don't know the remake, the reboots, the new games, and I sure as hell did not like Bubsy 3D, but I like the first 2. But Bubsy made a comeback. If Bubsy can make a comeback, almost any gaming mascot can make a comeback. Earthworm Jim's making a comeback. Can we please have Gex make a comeback? Number 3, we'll go to yet another platforming character. Ooh, mascot characters were very platforming back in the day. They came out around the exact same time as Klenoa and Gex, in that same mid to late 90s time frame, pretty much on the same exact systems. Can we please have Croc come back? Please? Please? Now, actually, unlike the other 2, which I have played Gex and I have played Klenoa, I actually grew up heavily on Croc, especially the first game. The first game came out in 1997, Croc, The Legend of the Gobos, and the second game came out in Croc, in 1999, Croc 2, both on the PS1, but also on the Saturn and Windows computers. And there were, and I never knew about this but they're in Japan only as far as I know. There's 3 mobile phone games that were released during the mid-2000s. So there are more games to him than just the 2 we know from the PlayStation 1 and Saturn and whatnot. But he is a fairly beloved, remembered classic gaming mascot character, and it's from a platformer. And you could easily make something from him today. Like I said, with Gex and Klenoa, there's 3D platformers and 2D platformers, both old school being brought back and new ones being made now, especially from indie developers. And he's a fairly beloved character that, while a lot of younger gamers probably wouldn't know who the heck he is, old school gamers would know who he is, and the gameplay would drive in the newer gamers, and anyone that has never, even if they're older gamers that never played the games back then, platforming games, like I said, are still fairly popular. And I do think Croc deserves a comeback to be made himself. Our number 4, and finally I'm out of the realm of platforming games. This is from a beat 'em up, and it was a mascot character that the company it's from used to be their mascot before they changed to the certain character you all know and love, Mega Man. Capcom's very own Captain Commando. Can we please have Captain Commando be brought back? Because he is only in 1 game, and that's his arcade game that was released on everything. From the arcade, it was on the arcade on the Super Nintendo. There was a PS1 version, I think that was only in Japan. PS2, there was various Capcom arcade collections. He was on the PSP through collections, Xbox through collections. He's on the PS4 and the Switch and whatnot through the Capcom Beat 'em Up bundle, which I do recall a lot of people loving, being able to play Metal Warriors and Final Fight and Captain Commando all in their arcade glory. 1991 was when the series started off as a beat 'em up. I love this game. I love beat 'em ups, and Captain Commando was one of the earliest ones to get me into it, besides like Rival Turf and Final Fight and whatnot. And I didn't really get to play the Streets of Rage series till later on because I didn't have a Sega Genesis growing up. But I love beat 'em ups, and I grew up with it. And it's a genre I'm super heavy in loving, like the X-Men arcade game, TMNT, freaking the Simpsons arcade game. I love me beat 'em ups. I would love to see a new beat 'em up, and they with the Capcom beat 'em up bundle brought the character back. He is popular in that. He still cameos in games like the Project Cross Zone series. They still utilize his design. Like I forgot who it was in Street Fighter V, but they have a DLC costume that is him. Can we please have him back, Capcom? I know Mega Man is your new and well, he is your freaking mascot, even though you misused him for years. But let me please have this guy back. Make a new Marvel vs. Capcom game. Just maybe Marvel vs. Capcom 4, because no one cares about Infinite. Put him on the roster. Bring back, maybe remaster his game in like 3D or something. Then give us a new game with his characters in it. Project Cross Zone 3. Do something with him. He needs to be a major revival, and not just cameos. But I would like to see more cameos too. Captain Commando. Bring him back. And number 5 doesn't go to a particular gaming mascot, but goes to a gaming advertisement mascot that was huge in Japan during the Sega days. And for those of you out there that actually have knowledge of the gaming industry, you probably know who I am talking about. And he's had cameos in games. He's had a few games of his own, but it is an advertisement character. And that goes to Segata Senshiro. Can we have him brought back? I know he was basically just used as a fictional character that advertises Sega Saturn from 1997 to 1998, and he basically was in all these commercials scaring people and little kids and men and whatnot, dressing up as Santa to, scare people and force people into buying and playing the Sega Saturn. And he was huge in Japan. He sacrificed himself with a missile that almost blew up the Sega headquarters to protect them when they were ending the Saturn and going into the Dreamcast. He made various cameos with like the Soccer Wars and whatnot, which is like his girlfriend. And he's in Project Cross Zone 2. Bring him back. Make his own series. Do something. Do a fighting game with him as a playable character in it. Virtual Fighter. Bring back Virtual Fighter and make him one of the playable characters. Do something. Give him his own series. Put him in Sonic. Put him in Yakuza. Put him in Shenmue. Put him in something. Not just crossovers. That was cool. They bring him back with the Project Cross Zone. But can we have Segata Senshiro in a new game? Bring him back. Maybe have him advertise the next generation of Sega. He revived himself. He became a godlike figure and came back to life. And he's like, and hopefully the same actor is still alive. I don't know who played him, and I don't know if the guy's still alive. But can we have new Segata Senshiro? Segata Senshiro. Segata Senshiro. Segata Senshiro. I messed that up so bad. I'm sorry. It's just like it's almost like a meme at this point. He's such an advertisement, and now a game character because he had video games back then. He had appearances in Project Cross Zone. Can we have him back, please, Sega? Please. And that is the 5 gaming mascots, classic gaming mascots that need to make a return. We have Captain Commando. We have Croc. We have Gex. We have Klenoa, and of course, the one and only, you cannot replace him, Segata Senshiro. Put in the comment section what you guys think. What do you guys think about these 5? Do you love these 5? Do you want to see them brought back, and not just cameos, but like new games and new game appearances, something major for these characters? And what classic gaming mascots that haven't been used in a while do you all want to see brought back? Because pretty much anything makes sense now that Bubsy was brought back, so anything is game. Put in the comment section below. We discuss it there. My name is Sniper's Fun. Peace. Please subscribe if you want to. Have a lovely day. And I'll see y'all later in the next video. Bye.